I am not as an identity, like who you are, versus a possibility skill. So in the past, I made a video about your I am nots and finding all your I am nots for yourself, about how you are. And in that, I covered about limiting beliefs that we carry internally, like how we are and who you are. I want to point you one more thing about a possibility skill, like a behavior skill set versus a self identity. So there are some I am nots that are limiting beliefs that you're convinced, like you are convinced that is absolutely true. They are the self-limiting beliefs. And sometimes it can be limiting you, and sometimes it may not be. And there are others which are behavior skill, like possibility skill set. So they, unlike the identities I am nots, can be improved upon by learning, by education, by training, by working with somebody who already has that behavior. So there are two things. Whereas I am nots, them are self-limiting beliefs which are like completely you're convinced and who you are as a being, as you are. And the other one is more like a possibility skill set which can be improved upon, and you also know it is possible. I want to make a distinction between these two. Just to keep it easy for you, I'll give an example. Let's say there may be an occasion that comes up at your work or in your personal life where you need to do some speaking in front of people. And when you want to speak in front of people, depending on how you are, if you have your I am not a public speaker, that can be a self-limiting identity, like I don't even want to attempt it, like you're completely convinced I am not a public speaker, and you pass on or move on or don't speak up even though you want to say something. That's like identity based limiting belief. Versus, let's say your I am not is more like I'm not a great public speaker, or I'm not that good at public speaker, but I did spoke once or twice here and there. That is a different I am not for yourself. So I want to give you a little bit distinction between these two, and also kind of like to give you a little bit different view. In the same thing can be different for different people. So another way to look at this is, if you say I'm not good at public speaking or I'm not a great public speaker, you already have a possibility in you. That means you already speak to some level, or you have some environment where you know other people are doing around you, and you can also do it. So there's some possibility there. And it's not really like you're like absolutely convinced, like you can never do that. You can never do the behavior. Versus I am not, this is absolutely convinced you cannot do it, then there's a big gap between these two. So that's the one thing I want to point out here. So whatever your I am nots, this is just an example I was giving a public speaking. If you have a skill set base where like I do some of it, but I'm not great at it, then it's more like a skill based where you can develop it, you can improve it, you can get trained on it, you can get help from other people around you or somebody else who you think is has that, and improve upon it, and there's a possibility there. Versus I am not absolutely convinced about this internally to you, that's a totally 100% limiting belief, which you may have to open some opportunity there with possibility there to get rid of this, and that's where these limiting beliefs have to be examined. Now I want to give you one more reminder, like how to find your I am nots. Just look at your own internal talk, how you talk to yourself, how you communicate with yourself. Try to observe them. And also, when you're communicating with other people around you in your personal life or in your professional life, and other ways to review your journal if you do have that, like what happened, what happened, what happened, what did you say. If you write them down, that's a good way to find out. Sometimes if you said I am not something, and that's where you can find some of the limiting beliefs you can have, or some other things that maybe you can improve with skill set. So I hope it helps. Enjoy.